AMD Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D CPU achieves over 1000 FPS in CS2, over 2000 FPS in Valorant with 6.9 GHz overclock at just 100 watts. AMD's Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D V-Cache CPU is aimed to be the most proclaimed gaming chip ever made and achieves over 1000 FPS in the most popular sports titles. AMD's Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D CPU simply crushes it in sports games, over 2000 FPS in popular titles while running at just 100 watts. ASUS China's general manager, Tony Yu, has shared some of his testing of the AMD Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D CPU running under an impressive overclock of up to 6.9 GHz. The overclocking feat achieved using LN2 cooling was evaluated in a range of games and apps, with the results being shocking. While the AMD Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D CPU offers a tremendous amount of gaming potential in stock thanks to its second-generation 3D V-Cache technology, the chip can also be overclocked like any standard Ryzen 9000 CPU, which means that extreme overclockers and enthusiasts can get a lot of performance out of this gaming behemoth. For overclocking purposes, the ASUS ROG Crossrex 670 Gen motherboard was used, with the AMD Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D being clocked at 6.7 to 6.9 GHz. In Cinebench 23, the CPU scored 30,513 CB points, which is a 36% uplift over the PBO scores that we managed to obtain in our review. The test system was running an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 GPU with 32GB of DDR5 6000, CL30, memory. At these overclocked settings, the chip consumes 200 watts of power at peak load, which is above its 120 watt TDP wall, but in gaming, it's a whole different story. In Counter-Strike 2, the CPU achieved an average of 1262.9 FPS at 1080p max settings, which is about the same performance achieved by the Intel Core i9-14900K. The 14900K managed over 1300 FPS but was also running at a much higher frequency of 8 GHz while consuming a lot more power compared to the 100-ish watts of the 9800 by 3D. In Valorant, the CPU managed over 2000 FPS on the character selection menu and over 1500 FPS while averaging close to 1100 FPS during the gaming session at the same 1080p max settings. The best part is the CPU package power, even at a 6.9 GHz overclock, was around 100 watts, which gives us a showcase of the impressive efficiency that Zen 5th and 2nd generation 3D V-Cache has to offer. Considering that the large majority of gamers play sports titles at 1080p, the Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D can deliver some astonishingly high frame rates, which would go perfectly with next generation GPUs and the latest monitors, which are pushing refresh rates over 600 Hz. The AMD Ryzen 7 9800 by 3D will be launching today for $479 US, and based on initial reports, there will be plenty of stock for gamers, as teased by Germany's largest retailer, Mind Factory.